Number 3. How to use Extrude Cut Feature used for sketching.
Hello guys! Welcome to this video. In this video we will create this model. This is called Mullet. We will use Mullet to learn about SolidWorks Basic Part Modeling. It's very recommended for you if you watch our previous video tutorials, because this SolidWorks tutorials video series is for anyone who really wants to understanding the system and process of the basic lessons about how to using SolidWorks. Not only memorize the step-by-step. In this video, we will learning about SolidWorks Basic Part Modeling. There's divided into few segments including 1. How to determine a main sketch profile of the 3D model. 2. How to determine which plane that we will use for sketching. 3. How to use Extrude Cut Feature. 4. How to use Hole Wizard Feature. 5. How to apply Fillet Feature in the 3D model geometry. 6. How to edit the 3D model geometry. To learn all of topics about SolidWorks Basic Part Modeling, we will divide it into 2 videos. In the first video about SolidWorks Basic Part Modeling, we will learn point number 1 to 3. And in the second video, we will learn point number 4 to 6. Okay, let's start the lesson. Number 1. How to determine a main sketch profile of the 3D model. To create a 3D model in SolidWorks, we need to create a sketch first, as a basic of our 3D model geometry. Sometimes, we will confused about sketch profile that we should create first to get a 3D model as we want, or about how should we start to sketch and what should I sketch first. Actually, we can use any sketch profiles to create a 3D model as we want, but to get the better results, we should create a main sketch that represents all of the 3D model itself, or a sketch profile that will produces the major body of a 3D model. The simple example is when we will create a 3D model of ceramic tile, as we know that ceramic tiles has a square profile as a main body. So, if we design the ceramic tile in the SolidWorks, we should create the square sketch geometry first, because the square profile of the ceramic tile represents all of the 3D model itself. But would we being wrong if we create the side thickness rectangle profile first, then extrude it to get the wide geometry? No, we're not wrong, but better we use the square main profile than rectangle side profile as the first sketch profile. Why? This will help us in the future if we will modify this model. It's more easy if we do with the square profile as the main or base sketch. Okay, look at this few images. I hope you will get more understanding about this fundamental topic. So for our model, which sketch profile that we should create first? A, B or C? Number 2. How to determine which plane that we will use for sketching. After we learning about how to determine a main sketch profile of the 3D model, so we could use a sketch profile to create our Mullet 3D model. The next question before we start is, which plane that I should use to place our sketch profile as a sketch media? Front plane, right plane, or top plane? To choose a recommended plane that we should use, we can consider this following aspect. 1. Part orientation when we use that part in assembly. 2. isometric view of the model if we placed that model in the part window, and many more. Okay, as we know, after learning the previous lesson, our model, mullet, has a rectangular shaped main sketch profile geometry. In this sample we can call it A. And, as we know, that we will use extrude feature to this sketch. If we want the isometric view of our model in the part window like this, which plane we should use? Front, right or top planes? Surely, we will create the rectangular main sketch profile on the top plane, then extrude it with specific thickness to get the main body of the mullet 3D geometry. Okay, I hope that simple explanation can answer our fundamental question about how to determine which plane that we will use for sketching. Number 3. How to use Extrude Cut Feature. Okay, to start this lesson, we can create a new part file. Click New. Double-click the part icon. As we learned before, we should create a rectangle sketch on the top plane geometry as a main sketch profile of mullet 3D model. Okay, now activate the sketch commands on the top plane. Right-click top plane. Then click Sketch. Here we will create a rectangle sketch with 16 mm width and 70 mm length. Now, go to the Sketch Command Manager. Click the small arrowhead icon as a pull-down menu of the rectangle command. Choose and click the center rectangle icon. We use this center rectangle because we want to create a rectangle sketch from the center position. Now, drag the pointer into graphic area. As we can see here, the pointer icon was changed into rectangle icon. That means we ready to create a rectangle sketch geometry. Then, click the origin point in the graphic area. Drag the pointer away from the origin point till approaching shape of rectangle that we want. And click if we are already get the similar rectangle shape as we want. Okay, now we should deactivate the rectangle sketch commands. Click OK in the Property Manager or push Escape button on the keyboard. Then see our pointer back to normal. That means we ready to use another sketch commands. Now, we will add the exact dimension for our rectangle sketch profile. Click the Smart Dimension icon in the Sketch Command Manager. Then, click the line that we use for length. Drag the pointer and click. Input the 70 mm. Then click OK in the Smart Dimension dialog box. Now click the line that we use for length. Drag the pointer and click. Input the 16 mm. Then click OK in the Smart Dimension dialog box. Okay, now we should deactivate the Smart Dimension commands. Click OK in the Property Manager or push Escape button on the keyboard. See the status bar. After we input the dimensions, we get the fully defined sketch status. That means we ready to create a 3D geometry using this 2D sketch profile. Now, we should exit this sketch window to create a 3D geometry. Click the Exit Edit Sketch icon. After that, go to the Features Command Manager and click. Choose and click Extrude Boss Bass Feature. Input 2 mm as the 3D model thickness in the depth column. Click OK to accept this thickness value and to close the extrude feature. Look, the sketch profile that we used for this 3D model are showed with highlight. That's mean we automatically already selecting that sketch profile, and we can use that highlighted sketch profile for another 3D features. To make that free, we can click wherever on the graphic area. Now we already have the mullet main 3D geometry. Next, we will create the triangle slot profile on that 3D geometry. Before that, let's look in the Feature Command Manager. As we can see, there's two main differences between a lot of features in the Command Manager: Boss Base Feature and Cut Feature. Like the name, if we use Boss Base Features, that means we created a 3D model geometry. And if we use a Cut Features, that means we reduce or cut the 3D model geometry. But in principle, the method that we use to create that feature's boss base and cut is same. The differences is just about adding and removing a 3D geometry. Okay, now we will create the long triangle slot geometry first. As we know, the main sketch profile for that slot is triangle shape. So, we will create a triangle shape sketch to get the slot. Like the previous video tutorials, before we creating a sketch we need to choose our sketch media first. And we already have three main sketch media. There's front plane, top plane and right plane. In this lesson, we will not use that main sketch media. We will use the flat surface geometry as our sketch media. In this case, we will use the flat right surface of our 3D model geometry. In other words, we can create a 2D sketch on the planes or flat surface in the SolidWorks. Now, right-click the flat right surface of 3D model geometry. As we can see here, there's two commands about sketching appears in the toolbar: Sketch and Edit Sketch. If we choose the Edit Sketch command, that means we want to modify our sketch that we used to create the main rectangle geometry. And if we choose the Sketch command, that means we want to create a new sketch on the surface that we selected. So, click the Sketch command to create a new sketch on that flat surface. Okay, after we activate our Sketch command, to make us more comfortable while sketching a new sketch geometry on that flat surface, adjust the view orientation to the Normal to option. Click the View Orientation on the Heads-Up View toolbar. Then click the Normal to. Or we can push Ctrl+8 buttons on the keyboard to activate the Normal to view orientation. Now, click the line icon to create a new sketch geometry using lines. After that, click on the graphic area to create a triangle shape profile using polyline like this. Stop, don't close the triangle shape profile first. Look, when we drag the pointer on the point, while the line command was active, there's appears small box with yellow color. That is called automatic relations. So SolidWorks help us to add an automatic relations when we create a sketch profiles. With this automatic relations, we are not necessary to add sketch geometry relations manually and one by one. So when the automatic relations appears and we click it, that means we added some relations on the sketch geometry that we created. Now, click the endpoint to close the triangle shape profile. Then to end the line command, we can push Escape button on the keyboard. After our pointer back to the normal icon, click the last line that we created. The line that we created already has a horizontal relation in it. That means the last line always in horizontal shape when we modify the other sketch geometry. Okay, now we try to prove it. Drag the endpoint of the last horizontal line like this. Now, drag the bottom point like this. See, the last line that we created always horizontal when we drag it. And the two lines that we created before can move freely without any restrictions. This is because the horizontal relations that added in the last line that we created. Like that we already learned in the previous video tutorials, we suggested to create a fully defined sketch to get the better results. To get the fully defined sketch status, we need to adjust the relations, dimension and position. Now we will adjust the triangle shape first by adding some relations on it. Click the two lines that we use as a triangle shape legs. Don't forget to choose more than one items. We need to push Ctrl button on the keyboard while we click the lines. Okay, after we selected these two lines, click the equal relation to make these lines have the same length. Now, try to drag the bottom point. See, these two lines still has same or equal length when we drag the bottom point. This reactions about these two lines are different than before we added equal relations on them. To end the selection of the point and set the pointer free, push Escape button on the keyboard. Okay, after we get the initial shape of our triangle shape profile, we will add the dimensions to get the right size. Click the Smart Dimension. Then click the horizontal line. Drag and click the pointer. Input 4 mm as the length of that line. And click OK. Now, click the horizontal line. And click the bottom point. Drag the pointer and click. Input 5 mm as the height or depth of our triangle profile. Then click OK. Now end the Smart Dimension command, push the Escape button on the keyboard. Okay, here we already get the right shape and size for our triangle shape profile. The last step that we need to do is set the position of the triangle profile from the origin or the 3D model geometry. Click the bottom line. Push and hold Ctrl button on the keyboard to select more than one items. Then, click the top edge of our 3D model geometry. After we select these two items or entities, choose and click the collinear relation to make the horizontal line and top edge become linear. Push Escape to end the selections. Now, click the Smart Dimension to adjust the position of our triangle profile, then the left edge of the 3D model geometry. Click the bottom sketch point. Then click the left edge of the 3D geometry. Drag the pointer and click. Input the 5 mm as the distance of the center triangle profile, then the left edge of the 3D model geometry. Click OK. And push Escape to end the Smart Dimension command. Look, we already have a fully defined sketch of the triangle shape profile. Now we will exit the sketch window and go to the part editing position. Click the Exit Edit Sketch. After we close our sketching window, to clear the sketch selection, push Escape button on the keyboard. Now set the view orientation to the isometric view. Click View Orientation in the Heads-Up View toolbar. Then click the isometric. Or push Ctrl+7 on the keyboard. Now we get the better view to execute our model. Go to the Features Command Manager and click the Extruded Cut Feature. Now, choose the sketch that we want to use for extrude cut. We can expand the Feature Manager, click the small arrowhead icon beside it. Then click Sketch 2. Or we can click one of this line that represents the whole sketch. Okay, as we can see in the Property Manager, we can adjust the extruded cut length. We can click the Depth dialog box and input the 70 mm as extruded cut length. Then, click OK. Push Escape button to clear the automatic sketch selection. Okay, now we already have this 3D model, and we can see there's Extrude Cut Feature are listed in our Feature Manager design tree. Next, we will create the 3 remaining triangle-shaped slot profiles on this flat face of the 3D geometry. Let's start. Okay, right-click on the flat face of the 3D model geometry. Then, click Sketch to activate the Sketch command. Push Ctrl+8 on the keyboard to set the normal to view orientation. Go to the Sketch Command Manager and click Line icon to activate the Line command. Create the 3 triangle-shaped profiles like this. After we get the initial shape of 3 triangle profiles, push the Escape button on the keyboard to end the Line command. Now, we will define the sketch geometry relations between the 3 triangle profiles. Push Ctrl button on the keyboard to select more than one item. Then click these 3 lines. Click Equal Relation to create the 3 lines that we click has same length. Click Escape button to end the selection. Now we should deselect the 6 triangle legs lines and make them equal. To select 6 line sketch geometry we can use blocks. Blocks technique. In SolidWorks, if we want to select an items or sketch geometry, we can use block technique. If we click and hold the left button mouse then drag it form the left side of the sketch geometry, we should to cover all of the sketch geometry that we want to select, like this. If we click and hold the left button mouse then drag it from the right side of the sketch geometry, we just need to touch the part of sketch geometry that we want to select. Like this. In short, we shouldn't to cover all of the sketch geometry that we want to select. The differences between left and right blocking techniques is the blocking color. If we use the left blocking technique, we will see the blocking color is blue, and if we use right blocking technique, the color is green. Okay, I hope this explanation will help us when we select and sketch geometry. Now, select this 6 triangle leg line sketch geometry with right blocking technique. Then, click the equal relation to make them have a equal or same length. Push Escape button on the keyboard to clear the selection. Now, we will set the wireframe display style. Go to the display style in the heads-up view toolbar and click. Then choose and click wireframe. After that, push and hold the Control button on the keyboard to select more than one items. Click one bottom point of the triangle-shaped profile. Then click this edge. Choose and click Coincident Relation to make that point touching the edge. Now, push Escape button on the keyboard to clear the selection. While we add the coincident relation between the point and the 3D model geometry edge. because the edge that we selected is edge that created from the bottom point of first triangle shape. In other words, we want the three triangles shape profile height to have the same height with our first triangle shape profile that we created on the side flat surface of our 3D model geometry. Okay, now set the display style back to shaded with edges. Click the display style in the heads-up view toolbar. Then, choose and click shaded with edges. Now we will create a center line to support our sketch position. Click the small head arrow beside the line icon. Then click Center Line. After we activate the Center Line command, click all of the bottom point of the sketch geometry like this. Then, push Escape button to end this center line command. Now we will set all of the three triangle shape position with some relations. Push and hold the Control button to select on more items. Click the middle bottom point of the triangle shape. Then click the origin point in the graphic area. Choose and click Vertical Relation to make that point to be in vertical position. Now make the two center lines or construction lines that we created to be same or equal length. Push and hold Control button to select one more items. Then click the first center line and click the other one. Choose and click Equal Relation. Push the Escape button on the keyboard to clear the selection. Okay, now click the Smart Dimension. Click the center right bottom point of the triangle shape. Then, click right edge of the 3D model geometry. Then, drag and click the pointer. Set 7 mm as the distance and click OK. After that, click the top sketch line. Then, drag and click the pointer. Set 4 mm as the triangle width and click OK. The last, push Escape button on the keyboard to end the Smart Dimension command. Okay, we already get the fully defined sketch status for this sketch geometry. Click the Exit Edit Sketch icon to close the sketching window. After we are in the editing part position, push Escape button to clear the automatic sketch selection. Push Ctrl+7 on the keyboard to set the isometric view orientation. Now, go to the Features Command Manager and click. Choose and click Extruded Cut Feature. Then click the small head arrow beside the Part 1 on the graphic area. Choose and click the Sketch 3 that we will use for this extruded cut feature. Now, input 16 mm as the extruded cut depth and click OK. Push Escape button to clear the automatic sketch selection. Okay, now we already have this 3D model. Okay guys, thanks for watching this video. If you think this video can be benefits for the others, please share this video. Don't forget to support us with subscribe to our channel and watch our videos. See you in the next video.